So I originally set this up in the video, but then I realised afterwards that I'd used the wrong microphone, so it sounds awful. So I'm redoing it now. Basically, I'm going to make a headphone stand. I'm just using one piece of wood and I'm going to cut it into a few pieces and then glue them together. The idea is it'll be one angled piece and then some base pieces and it'll just rest on top of the angle. I already had the angle worked out before recording the video because honestly I just guessed. Honestly, I just made a complete guess and it worked out. It was also my first time using a bevel gauge and it took me a really long time to work out. I kept messing it up. Because I already knew the angle, I just put the piece of wood on the table and measured up where I wanted the headphones, and that was about it. And then the only other thing left to do after that was to actually cut the wood. I cut the ends off the piece in the first place because it's got some little holes in that I just don't need, and then cutting an angled piece on one, and then the opposite angle on the other side, because that meant that if you got one piece of wood at the same angle but on opposite directions, it'll stand the way I want it to, and allow me to rest the piece on top. And then cut the same angle again on the other pieces of wood and then use those as the base. And now that that's done, I can get back to the actual good audio for the rest of the recording, so I'll jump back in at the end. I'll see you later.
So my original plan was to have a base made out of 3 pieces that would all end in the same place. So it would look like this kind of roughly. And we'd have the main piece coming out here that the headphones would rest on. This does work if I hold it, but I've got to be careful. And then a piece at the back glued on. And obviously it'd all be glued together. But then it would basically go together like this. See? If I move my hand, it falls apart. So this is the rough idea, you see. That was the rough idea. But this piece is too short. The other pieces are the right length. I've got a tiny piece here, which I could add on. I could glue that in place and it wouldn't be the end of the world, but come on. So it'd look roughly like this. And I think that looks nice. But for now, what I'm going to do instead is just this. Oh, my hand's in the way, isn't it? Because I think that looks way cooler. But I just also don't think it'll work. I'm almost certain it won't work. But what I can do is I can do this, and then when it doesn't work, I can still glue the side pieces on, can't I? And actually, I could do that and just have them all match the angle, can't I? As opposed to having the piece on the back. Yeah. Yeah, right, anyway. I don't think I really need this much, do I? Let's find the end of it, because I don't think I've even actually opened this tape yet. I do hope you can actually see what I'm doing. Get these together. Let's just pour a tiny bit. God, that's honestly more glue than I'm going to need, isn't it? So let's just actually scrape it. Get a little bit more. Just to be on the safe side. Because literally the only thing holding this together will be this glue. And I've just realised I've done that wrong. What the fuck was I thinking? Well, at least I realised before we got any further. It's supposed to be like that, wasn't it? Right. It's because I actually put the tape on. I was thinking about making a box. But we're not doing that, are we? We're supposed to put the tape on afterwards. Yeah, see, this is the problem. Now, I'm going to try and get the glue out of here because it's going to be an absolute nightmare getting in here later on. But I'll be honest, it's not coming off great. I would really like some more pressure, but I just can't work out how to do it. Oh, okay, wait, the glue is sticking to it. I always thought the glue didn't stick to this. Well, it's not the most stressful glue up I've ever done. But it was also not my favourite. Is there anything I can do to make this better? I feel like if I put a piece there, I can get a clamp on it like that. Let's just try. Might be wrong, but I feel like I'm right. Okay, no, this will work. One more clamp going in the other direction as well. This was always going to be the worst part of the gluing. Yeah, like no matter what design I went with. Should have opened this up first, shouldn't I? Just not really any need to stress about this at this point. Like, this way. Yeah, think that'll hold. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. It's mostly just a proof of concept. I've cut some angles and glued two pieces of wood together. Right, so it's a different day entirely. And hopefully this glue is dry now, and then we'll just see. I'm either completely finished, or I have an entire other job to do. Yeah, this is one thing I was a bit worried about. I should still be able to get it out. I mean, I could always just leave it there. It's not the end of the world, but I would rather it wasn't there. Right, that's that done. It stands okay, doesn't it? Like, it doesn't look too bad. Right. Do I want to try and get that corner piece out, or do I actually kind of like it? Part of me kind of likes it. But I'll never be able to get finished in that gap then. Right, let's see if it stands with the headphones on, because if it does, I'm actually just going to leave it like this. Put it there. Let's just see. Yeah, it does. I actually just like it like that. Like, this wasn't my plan, but I just like it like that. I think that looks way better. Yeah, that actually looks like way cool. I was worried it was going to fall, but it seems stable enough. Like, yeah. Right. So, I think just do a bit of sanding and then finish it. And that'll be done. This is surprisingly quick. And I'm back in time for everyone's least favourite part of woodworking, the sanding. Although luckily with it being such a small project this didn't take very long at all. I had to do a little bit of hand sanding which I didn't record, but for the most part it was just starting at 80 grit and working up to 180, and that was like it. I was actually supposed to do some of the sanding and finishing before I got to this point, before the glue up, because I knew I wouldn't be able to get into the angles properly once I did, and I just forgot. I always quite like doing the finish because it really shows you what the wood looks like. It sounds weird, but you can see what I mean, literally. The wood looks completely different just after applying a little bit of finish. I also just enjoy this finish because I made it myself a few years ago. It's very simple to apply, and you can just touch it up if you need to. There's not much that goes into it, and it's just quite nice. And then we've got the final piece. It looks like a triangle. I actually kind of like all the triangular aspects of it, and I also like that it goes with the other pieces I've made previously. I was surprised how quickly this came together, but I also feel like I kind of learned quite a bit in the process. Less about the making it, a little bit about the importance of pre-finishing your pieces, but I didn't know about that, I just forgot to do it. But I learned more about design, I think. It was already a pretty simple design, but this ended up being even simpler and I like it even more. It does have a little bit of an issue. It's a bit wobbly. Part of that could be rectified if it had a wider base, but I think another part of it is I could just, if I sand the base perfectly flat, it'd stand a bit easier. But even as it is now, I like how it looks. It works. It does everything I want it to. That's it. I am also a big fan of this shot, but it doesn't look anywhere near as good as it did. The weird thing is that if I view this shot on my camera, it looks great. But the second I brought it into my editing software, it looks awful. Not even just my editing software, just actually viewing it on my computer, it looks awful. There's tons of fuzz. There's tons of noise to it, but I'm happy with it. I like the project. I learned quite a bit about filming as well. I've ended up with more challenges about filming because I want to get shots in the dark like this. I need to work out how much light exactly I need because I want to get a shot in the dark, but I can't have it in the dark because then I've not got enough light for the sensor. Just working that out so I can get better shots like this in the future. But yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching.
Special thanks to my patrons, Justin Wood, Hobbs and Koopy Vegeta. You can join my patrons at patreon.com/Holden Gatsby, check out my TikTok and Twitter at Holden Gatsby, and follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Holden Gatsby. Don't forget to subscribe to all of my channels. If you want more, you can watch my last video now, but if not, then thanks for sticking around.